My name is Elliot, and I live in the Whittier neighborhood. I'm a Whittier renter and pedestrian and public transit user. I feel it's a really good display of just how crowded and uncomfortable this new redesign plan wants to make our public spaces and our walking spaces and our cycling spaces, especially for me as a mobility aid user, as a person with limited mobility. It's an uncomfortable walking experience, and I definitely don't want to have that when I'm trying to just do my errands, walk around my neighborhood, and just exist in the area I live in. It would, which is unfortunate because my main grocery store is that Aldi. I moved to Whittier because it's a very walkable and accessible space for me to live in, and Lyndale Avenue, as it is now, is a huge part of that. I really would love it to be a place that would make things even more accessible for people like me and my neighbors. And unfortunately, right now, the current redesign plan is taking things in the opposite direction. My ideal Lyndale would be a space for everyone that is both a path for low speed traffic, like pedestrians, especially those of us with mobility issues, and space for higher speed traffic, like bikes, separate, so that we aren't running into each other or risking crashes, and space for buses as well. We need a Lyndale that works for everyone.
So my name's Oliver Calder. I live, around here in South Uptown, and I like to go to businesses along Lyndale, but it's often so hard to get to them because I just don't know that they're here because I'm not driving or I'm not biking along this route very often. And when I'm in a car, I just can't see these local businesses, as well as I'd like to. So, and imagine all the people who just can't bike at all in Lyndale right now, myself included. Who would be then more open to seeing these local businesses and being part of this more vibrant community. It seems like we clearly need a better solution than just squeezing bikes and pedestrians all into one shared use path like we're doing right now. This is a bit crowded, chaotic. So I'm hoping that we can get a better solution that'll keep us all safer and make us more welcome to be biking around in this hopefully vibrant community. About as likely as I am now, which is very selective. I must go to Aldi on my bike, so I'm going to stay on some other street until just that one corner, or I get flowers from the local flower shop, for example. But it's so hard to get there that I have to bike a few blocks north or south just to get to that location safely. So it would be much more likely to be biking here if it were actually a safe and pleasant way to do that. But it wouldn't be much better than this with a shared use path, I think. It looks a lot like the new Hennepin, where we have a nice protected raised bike path separate from cars, separate from pedestrians, and then rumble strip kind of areas between pedestrians and bikes or grassy areas. And that way it is clear what is safe for pedestrians, it's clear what is safe for bikers, everyone's aware of what's going on around them, and they have the opportunity to see and take part in the local community a lot more easily. This is the most pressing thing on my mind recently, is making sure that this doesn't get consent and that we can move forward with a better plan. So thank you.
My name's Sylvie Hyman. I'm a candidate for City Council in St. Louis Park, and I am very passionate about, that's close, okay. Very passionate about making Lyndale more livable. I personally avoid Lyndale a lot of the time because of how toxic it is for people biking and walking right now. And I was very hopeful in the early stages of this project that we were going to do better with Lyndale. I really liked the orange option. And I'm very disappointed that the current option does not reflect what the community desires with the street. Well, part of me is joyful just because I love people and I like when there's a lot of people around, and presently I'm not in any hurry, so it's okay. But it's also very crowded, and if I was trying to get somewhere or just out for a walk and all these people came by and we're all crushed into this space, I would probably be a little bit peeved. But I'm generally an agreeable person. We should set ourselves up to not be a-holes to one another, and a 12-foot shared use path for all of the non-car and non-transit traffic is kind of setting us up to be kind of mean to each other.
My name is Will. I live like 2 blocks from Painter Park. I just bought a house in this area because this is my car. I bike to work in Edina like 3 times a week, and so like having connections like this are important to me. I mean, I go to places on Lyndale, and currently where I have to ride, there's not even a shoulder. And like this half measure won't even start near my house. Like it starts at the Greenway for some reason. So this is very important for me, and I wanted to be here. So get rid of some parking to put in a 2-way bike lane, just like they did on Hennepin. That's what my ideal Lyndale would look like. I currently go to the Pizza Luce a lot. There's not even like a way for me to cross there safely. I have to like dodge cars. So just more walkability, more bikeability, less half measures. It's not fun. It's like 90 degrees out right now, and we're going like 2-3 miles an hour according to my bike. You know, people walking are having a hard time getting around the mass of bikers. Like, it's not an experience I would really want to do again. Yeah. Maybe a better ramp on the Greenway while Nicolette is closed. That's pretty... They've closed it, and they're apparently not going to open the first one until fall 2026, which is ridiculous. But other than that, no, nothing on my mind.
Hi, my name is Mel Bernstein. I'm a resident of South Uptown, which is like pretty close to Lyndale. I can walk here in 20 minutes, so I would say I live nearby. I mean, if I'm walking here by myself, it's fine, but if I have another person, it's okay. But then when one other person tries to cross the other way, it's too tight. And then we're having people walk our bikes today to show that there is not a safe way to bike on Lyndale Avenue right now. It's extremely crowded, and if I was a pedestrian trying to go around us right now, I would have a hard time. Clearly shows that we need more space for people not in cars. And just one other thing, like people say, oh no, like what about the cars? I just want to say to that, like car drivers, when they park their car and step out of their car, they magically turn into pedestrians. So if we consider that every car driver is also a pedestrian, they're really supporting us, or they should be, at least.
My name's Brent. I live super close to Lyndale. I live on Harriet and 24th-ish. So yeah, just walk over to frequent a lot of the businesses like Aldi, SK Coffee, a bunch of them all along Lyndale, and I'm there all the time. Yeah, I think it's way too crowded. It really illustrates like there's going to be a lot of conflict between pedestrians and bikes. And, you know, I think it's just really ridiculous that cars, they get most of the space on the street, and kind of pedestrians and bikes are just left to be in conflict with one another. So I just really think there should be kind of an equal allocation of space, especially because, you know, bikes and pedestrians, they're climate friendly. They're not dangerous to other people. Like cars are responsible for a lot of fatalities that occur in the city on the streets. So yeah, it just feels really unfair because like we're in this conflict, the cars get all this space. It really feels like there needs to be something better for us. I think my ideal Lyndale would look like dedicated bus lanes in both directions that are 24 hours. You know, a bike path obviously, and then plenty of sidewalk space, plenty of patio space for businesses as well, so they can have customers. You know, I think we really want everyone to thrive, and by just having all of that space for all modes of transport, that's really what that would do. Yeah, I mean, I think the design as is just, it's already a bit of a compromise. We were in favor of the orange option. It wasn't perfect. There aren't, you know, bus lanes along the entire length of the corridor. But, you know, it was really great to have that bike lane, that 2-way bikeway. So I really think it was already a compromise, and I think we should go back to that. This is a new option that wasn't even on the table. So let's go back to something that at least, gives us a little something with having that bikeway and all that kind of stuff.
My name is Meg, and I've lived in Uptown. I lived in Uptown for a few years, and I've lived in Minneapolis since then. And my partner is Julie, and she's kind of running this whole thing, and that's how I got involved with Livable Lyndale. But I think that biking and busing is super important, something that I try to do more, and I think accessibility should be for everyone and be made more accessible. And yeah, walking here right now is really uncomfortable, and I feel like I'm gonna get run over, and we're all even walking together, so I can't imagine everybody coming in different directions and people sitting on patios and everything. Like, it just doesn't work. It doesn't make any sense. Ideal Lyndale would have like less parking to make room for a dedicated bus lane and a dedicated bike lane so that people can commute and use these businesses by ways other than driving a car.
My name is Derek. I actually live over near the U of M, but I come down this way often to see friends and go on bike rides and go to concerts and things on this end of town. So yeah, I'm through here probably once a week or two. This is absolutely terrible. Really dislike this. Big 2 thumbs down from me. I'm shocked that this was even thought of as an acceptable use of this. Seems like this should have been thrown out on first concept, first pitch. Shouldn't have made it through to another round of even discussion, let alone being a final possible or final plan. Space for all mobility users. So people biking, walking, rolling, using transit, kind of dividing it up more evenly so that everybody can use it how they need to. And right now and even with the plan, it's mostly going to be dedicated to cars and parking. And even if we have a bike lane, there's going to be a lot of parking. So I would just like to see it so we don't all have to, fight over the same space. I would be much less likely. I would probably be choosing a different path, so I wouldn't be happening upon. Like I said, I don't really live in this neighborhood, so a lot of these businesses I don't really know about or think about until I'm going by them. And then I'll go by them and I'll see something that looks cool and I'll just pop in because it's easy enough to hop on and hop off a bike. But if I'm over on another street, I'll be, going by houses and I won't be going to businesses there because those aren't allowed there. I'm excited for it, but they're making it harder to be excited for it than it should be. This should be such a, exciting, like, once-in-a-lifetime thing, and it's going to be a once-in-a-lifetime thing, so I just really want to see it as good as it possibly can be, not only for right now, but for, for the next several decades that we're going to be using it, and that I want to be living in the city and frequenting these businesses.
My name is Anna. I just moved back to Minneapolis a year and a half ago, and I have a lot of friends who bike on Lyndale. So this is, it's become a big part of my social life to bike over to Lyndale. It's very chaotic. I feel like you can't walk and have a casual conversation. You always got to be watching out for who you're running in for. It just doesn't want to make you take like a leisurely stroll through the neighborhood. My ideal Lyndale would look like a design that takes everyone into consideration, that has proper spaces for bikes and buses and walkers so that people have plenty of space for the mode of transportation that best suits them. I think it just would make it less likely because, again, it's not like a comfortable space to just meander down. I really like areas where I know I can bike to comfortably, I know I'll find bike parking, and so I want a design that accommodates everyone.